we begin tonight with this news. Bombshell new developments for James Comer's investigation into the possible Biden family syndicate or enterprise, if you live in Georgia, if you prefer. Very real allegations of bribery and money laundering. We have a lot of new details tonight. Any of you ever hear of a guy named Robert L. Peters? Ask yourself, anyone know that name? Anybody? Raise your hand if you know that you do? Okay. According to documents we've now uncovered from the National Archives and emails retrieved from Zero Experience Hunter Biden's laptop, Robert Peters appears to be a pseudonym for your president, Joe Biden, when he was using as vice president to conduct official government business. Biden likely trying to hide these communications from prying eyes or public records requests. Now, the chairman of the House Oversight and Accountability Committee, James Comer, he is now demanding that the National Archives turn over all documents and communications featuring Robert L. Peters and two other pseudonyms that were used by Joe Biden. Now, Comer is especially interested in emails that included Hunter Biden and two of his closest business partners, Devon Archer and Eric Schwerin. Now, Chairman Comer is also requesting drafts from Biden's 2015 speech to the Ukrainian parliament. That's because Hunter's business email was CC'd on numerous government documents sent by Robert L. Peters, including at least two emails involving Ukraine. And it looks like the big guy was possibly sending drafts of a speech to the Ukrainian parliament to his son Hunter, who at the time, we know, was addicted to drugs and had no experience in Ukraine, energy, or oil. Now, very strange to say the least. At the very same time, Hunter was getting paid big bucks to serve on that oil giant in Ukraine known as Burisma. That's the oil and gas company. And we all know his background. He has none. And with all the other suffering that he had from his addictions, how was he capable to make all these million-dollar deals in a business that he had no background or experience in? That's a great country. If you have a great job, if you can grab that one. Now, the owner of Burisma even reportedly thought, according to that 1023 form, that he believed that Hunter Biden was stupid and that his dog was smarter than Hunter. And don't forget, I didn't say it, the guy did. His father, Joe Biden, claimed to have no involvement at all whatsoever. He never once discussed with his son, Hunter, his brother, or anyone else for that matter, their foreign business deals. But the timeline we're about to show you suggests the otherwise. Let's start. The date, December 4th, 2015. Now, Hunter is in Dubai, and he's with the bosses at Burisma. And at that point, they're putting a lot of pressure on Hunter and his business partners that they need to call D.C. They need help from D.C. To address pressure that the company was facing. And according to testimony from Devon Archer, quote, they requested that Hunter help them with some of that pressure. Archer said, quote, you know, government pressure from the Ukrainian government investigation. Now, 5 days later, exactly 5 days later, December 9th, same year, 2015, then Vice President Joe Biden was in Ukraine. How convenient. That's where he delivered remarks to the Ukrainian parliament. Now, this was a speech carefully crafted to put pressure on the government to take action against individuals who Biden deemed corrupt. Take a look.
And it's not enough to set up a new anti-corruption bureau and establish a special prosecutor fighting corruption. The Office of the General Prosecutor desperately needs reform. The judiciary should be overhauled. The energy sector needs to be competitive, ruled by market principles, not sweetheart deals. It's not enough to push through laws to increase transparency with regard to official sources of income. Senior elected officials have to remove all conflicts between their business interests and their government responsibilities. Every other democracy in the world, that system pertains.
Now, the irony is on that very same day after that speech on December the 9th, 2015, hours before returning to the U.S., Joe Biden, that's the moment that we got him on tape bragging about. That's when he leveraged $1 billion U.S. tax dollars in loan guarantees to force Ukraine to fire a prosecutor and get rid of him out of office. The prosecutor was the very guy that was investigating not only Burisma, the oil giant, but also his son and his son's company for corruption. And son of a bee, they fired him. Remember, I'm leaving here in 6 hours. If that prosecutor is not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bee, he got fired. And according to Archer, this kept the doors open at Burisma, or he thought they would go bankrupt for at least a few more years. And Hunter, he benefited from that firing because he continued to get paid. In other words, Biden family enrichment. And like the 1023 form, he said official actions as vice president resulting in money for the Biden family. For a guy that was addicted to drugs, that had no experience. Does that make sense to anybody? Does that sound like Joe never talked to Hunter or anybody for that matter about their foreign business dealings? Now, a few months later, now in May of 2016, Hunter's business account was included on a government email to Robert L. Peters about an upcoming Biden phone call with Ukraine's president. Quote, boss 8:45 a.m. prep for phone call with Poroshenko, the president at the time. And Hunter Biden was the only person CC'd on the email. Why would he be telling his son about a discussion with the Ukrainian president? Keep in mind, this is not a one-off incident. There are pictures of Joe Biden hanging out with numerous Hunter's foreign business partners. Dinners at Cafe Milano, one case with the former First Lady of Moscow, a Russian oligarch, $3.5 million she did in business with the Hunter Biden company. And then later, $120 million investment in their real estate division. Over 20 phone calls, Devin Archer testified to the House Oversight Committee with Hunter and his son's foreign business partners. And a damning shakedown WhatsApp message, you might recall, between Hunter and a Chinese business partner. Remember the one? I'm sitting here with my father and would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled. Hunter continued, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person that he knows and my ability to hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. A few days later, Hunter received a generous $5 million wire from these very same Chinese business partners in the oil business yet again. Hunter's lawyers say the WhatsApp message is fake. Well, Congressman Comer, who will join us in a minute, he says that's called evidence. And that experience, that evidence, shows that Joe Biden and the Biden brand, as Devin Archer called it, was for sale. And that the brand, it wasn't Hunter. It was the big guy. It was the vice president of this country at the time. And apparently, his family was getting paid one way or the other. The House Oversight Committee has identified 9 Biden family members that got money, including the grandkids. What did they do for that money? What did Hunter do for all these millions of dollars? In texts and in emails, Hunter talked about having to fork over half his income to Pops. Biden was also reportedly allocated 10%, a cut, for the big guy in one of these deals. Hunter worked closely with the company's business manager to pay large, very specific sums of money to pay for Joe's home repairs. And on this issue breaking this week, a newly uncovered 2018 text from Hunter complaining, quote, my dad has been using most lines of my account, which I've, through the gracious offerings of Eric Schwerin, have paid for the past 11 years. In other words, Joe's getting his cut. Now, Eric Schwerin was Hunter's main U.S. business partner in a lot of these lucrative deals, including with China. This does not look good for Joe Biden, who's now president, or should I say, Robert Peters. And guess what? It's about to get a lot worse as Comer's investigation continues. But by the way, without a diversion agreement, the president's son, Hunter, he might soon be headed for prison for a gun law violation that his father enthusiastically supported. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.